So my name is Mike Lund. I'm the Resident Evil brand manager at Capcom USA, and we're showing off Resident Evil 2 today.
I'm so excited to be talking to you about this. So, and if you could tell me kind of whereabouts, I noticed a lot of the RCPD layout has changed, kind of like the mansion, the first Resident Evil remake. How much of the layout has changed? How much is different?
So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't everyone always calls it a remake. The title is technically Resident Evil 2 because we always say that it's not just a remake. Obviously using the foundation of the original game, but we want it to be a lot more than that. So for example, the Raccoon City Police Department, right when you walk in, that super iconic foyer, everyone remembers that, but items are going to be moved around. Some places might look familiar, but we also go out of our way to mix it up too, because RE is all about scares, it's all about keeping you on the edge of your seat. If you know everything that's coming, like, it's no fun. You're like, oh, this is where the liquor jumps out, this is where the dogs come through the window. We want to change some of those things up, so there's not an exact percentage off the top of my head, but I'd say our goal is to try to make it both nostalgic and feel new at the same time. So,
I noticed there wasn't much background music, it was more ambient noise. Can we expect more of that throughout the whole game?
Sure, so the original had some music, and this one will have music as well. Partially I think it's because we're in a giant convention hall and you can barely, you hear all the other booths around us going crazy. But we will have some of the older school, like everyone's going to have a nice save room theme. You're going to have like the tension ones when zombies are attacking and things like that, but the soundtrack's going to be good. So,
I really like the cinematic feel of the game. It seems like I would go from following Leon in third person to getting bitten, and kind of the angle changing, seeing the caution status meter flow up. How much of the game, what is that blend between cinematic and gameplay? Is everything pre-rendered or in-game?
No, everything is generally done in-game. There are some cutscenes, but it's still like, we try to keep it as much in-game as possible, but as to not like pull you out of that moment. So for example, the thing you mentioned, like the zombie biting your shoulder, back in the day it was just kind of a, like, oh, there it is, push them off type thing, but we want to make it feel like you're getting bit, like you see the zombie like coming in like that and then jumping you, hitting you in the shoulder. That's part of the credit to our new over-the-shoulder camera system. The original game had like a third person kind of from the corner camera, but we wanted to take advantage. Again, this isn't just a remake, so we chose to go with third person over the shoulder stuff you've seen in like Resident Evil 4 or 5, those types of games as well. So
I know this was announced back in August of 2015, yes. And we've been eagerly awaiting word. Why did you wait until now, almost 3 years into, to talk about it?
It's a fantastic question. So literally no jokes. Like I mean, we do things certain ways sometimes, but that literally, if you go back and watch that video, he had a PowerPoint up or like a handful of papers. That's literally all the game was at that point. And we're like, even us, we're like, do we want to announce this? Well, let's announce it. Like, the fans are ready. Like, it honestly was my first Resident Evil game that I ever played, and like, I see people on forums, and my friends were asking me, when are we going to remake that game? And so it just came to head where it was the right place and the right time. We decided to put it then, and it's actually been 3 years to get to this point. So, it's been working on in the background. We had RE7, we want to have that have its own time, but happy to have RE2 here at E3.
It was also my first Resident Evil. Nice. I want to know, what is your favorite part about this remake, but also not a remake, keeping it fresh?
So for me, it's really like, so it's like a Resident Evil 2 for me. It was like, because since it was my first one, it's really what brought me into the brand, introduced me to the characters like Leon and Claire and all the other people. To be able to see them again in sort of like updated, modern setting, like, sometimes people go back and like use RE's like kind of hokey original VO from the PlayStation games as a thing, but like, it makes it feel more real. Like, if you go back and watch our trailer, it's basically like a new like modern cinematic movie trailer, which it still retains a lot of the stuff that we have, Raccoon City Police Department, downtown Raccoon City. You'll see scenes that you remember from the other games as well, but the core of it's still there, and that's like, everyone wears a little bit of nostalgia glasses, and I think that's kind of what activates not only me, but a lot of people as well. But again, we want to make sure there's new stuff there as well. So if you have, it's not just like, oh, I've played this type of thing. There's going to be new stuff for everybody, whether you've played it or not.
Definitely felt and saw and heard a lot of RE7's influence. RE7 kind of took the series back to the darker, more serious, scarier tone. Did that game have an impact on RE2 as well?
It definitely did. So believe it or not, running on the same engine. So we built the RE engine a couple years ago, specifically for RE7. And it's basically focusing on like super photorealistic graphics. At that time, I can't remember or not if we actually planned on originally using it, but it worked out well. RE7 was a huge success, and here we are using the RE engine for not only this game, but games like DMC5 as well. So Capcom is, we've had other proprietary engines in the past, but it seems like we're really going to be going to town on a lot of future releases with this one as well. So
I noticed the game made an effort not to take me out of the experience. Like I mentioned before, when I got bit, I would see my health status change if it did. Is there going to be a way to do things like, for example, can I heal without opening the menu to stay in the immersion?
Not at this time. We still wanted to have so in RE7, different RE games have done it in different ways. Sometimes you were never able to stop the action so much that even if you're trying to heal, a guy can come up and kill you while you're doing that, which some people like it where you can pause and oh crap, I need a moment type thing. But some people oh, I don't want to break the moment. RE2 does a little bit of both, where it's like you mentioned, you get bit and you see your health go from green to orange or reduce a little bit. But we do allow for a little bit of a pausing scenario if you want to use your health or pause the game actually straight out. So it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, trying to find the right mix.
I know one of the big features of Resident Evil 2 in its day was the alternate campaigns for Leon and Claire. How will the campaigns differ between the two characters in this game?
So in this game, we haven't gone too much into Claire's campaign just yet. We obviously will have Claire. She will have her own campaign just like Leon. But we're taking a slightly different approach. Back in the day, there was a zapping system where both characters basically had two different scenarios, and they were fairly similar. We want to take a different approach and make sure that people aren't just replaying the same thing over and over and over, but still give the content and depth that were present within those campaigns. So we'll have a little bit more on how that functions a little bit later, but both Claire and Leon will have their own separate campaigns, just like the original too. So
I don't know if you'll be able to talk about this, but given that RE3 obviously came after 2 and Nemesis was kind of this advanced version of Mr. X in 2, will we see any of Nemesis's traits in Mr. X? Will it be a bit more dynamic with his encounters this time around, since we saw him in the trailer yesterday?
That's true. So, so can't officially confirm any other characters just yet. Obviously, like I mentioned, there's going to be some new stuff as well. But on the whole, expect RE2's traditional story from the top level. But there will be extra stuff in there as well that we can't just talk about just yet. But stay tuned. Again, like I mentioned before, we want to keep players on their toes. Even players that have played this game for the past 20 years, they're still going to get surprised. They're still going to get the holy crap moments, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So
it was absolutely terrifying. So
doing our jobs right there.
That's right. So when will it be out, and what platforms?
So this is coming out January 25th of 2019, just a few short months away, on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Any plans for Nintendo Switch?
Nothing at this time. So we wanted to focus on the core consoles. Powerful enough to run this game. Not to say the Switch isn't powerful enough, but it's the direction we wanted to go for this game.
The RE engine looks like a big truck to handle, I'd say.
It is, and again, like I mentioned before, we started development of this game years and years and years ago. So,
yeah. Great.